playoffs than anybody. What after a game like this, where it's a big score line at home, what's the kind of the proper way to try and respond from that mentally, physically, and all of it?
Well, obviously, we got to do a better job of controlling the controllables, and I don't think we did a good enough job after the first quarter. Once they blitzed us in that second quarter, 38-20. But giving up 21 threes, giving up 20-plus fast break points, second chance points, those are some of the things that we can control. Obviously the three-point shooting, we know they have a lot of lasers, they have a lot of guys that can shoot from the perimeter. So we got to do a better job of closing the bodies and getting out on shooters. So, we'll get back in the film room tomorrow, look at the things that we did well, some of the things that we didn't do so well, and continue the game plan for game 2. We have a couple of days to prepare for it.
LeBron, both AR and JJ mentioned that they felt like one of the factors tonight was the physicality being something that maybe caught you guys early on in the game. Were there any things that you saw that gave you belief that you figured out how to counter that as the game went on that you can take into game 2?
Well, definitely. When you play in a Minnesota team, they're going to be physical. That's what they bring to the table. Maybe it took us one playoff game to now get a feel for it and know what the type of intensity, the type of physicality that's going to be brought to the game, but that's just the way they play. So we should be more than prepared for that on Tuesday night.
LeBron, obviously you guys are going to meet game 2 with a sense of urgency, but what's sort of the right approach to a game 2 when you're down 0-1 in terms of still being calm and understanding kind of the big picture of things while also knowing that it's obviously an incredibly important game?
No, we understand that. They took home court from us tonight, as far as the series, but we have an opportunity to even the series out on Tuesday, and we have to play a much better game than we did today. Like I said, we have to control the controllables, and if we do that, we're going to give ourselves a much better chance to win than we did tonight.
You mentioned one of the first answers there, the Timberwolves 20-plus fast break points is a key factor. How much of that did you see as a result of just you guys missing shots close to the rim and near the rim and them running out just from there?
No, we did a great job later on. Throughout the whole season, we did a great job of not allowing teams to get, fast break point after fast break point after fast break point. Like I said, those guys are 10 for 15 and 25 points on the fast break. We already know offensively how dangerous they are. So when you're giving teams an opportunity to get those easy points, it's going to be hard to make that up. We only had 6 ourselves, so that we got outscored by 19 in that race. So, those are things that we control by getting back, setting our defense, making them score against our half-court defense.
LeBron, you guys closed the third on a 17-6 run and then carried that over into the first few minutes of the fourth. What did you see during that stretch of 6-7 minutes that you feel like you could take in a game?
We met the intensity, what they were bringing to the table. We met the physicality with physicality, and started to get up into them. Allowed us to get some turnovers, allowed us to get some extra possessions, and they allowed us to get back into the game. So, like I said, sometimes it takes a quarter, 2 quarters, a full game to get used to playoff basketball once again. So it shouldn't be no surprise on Tuesday.
LeBron, to your right, when you talk about controlling the controllables in the second and third quarter, what comes to mind at those times?
Offensive rebounds, giving up open shots to lasers, not being in the right position. So it was a lot of factors that allowed them to build that big lead up to 27.
LeBron, Minnesota was able to kind of penetrate, drive and kick. They converted a lot of those corner threes and things of that nature. How much of that was just a team getting hot and hitting their shots, and how much of that is part of the controllables and things that you can prevent?
We're going to look at the film and break it down. There's some that was just great plays by them. We're all NBA players. We know how to make plays. Some of the things we could have control, but we watch the film and see ways we could be better with our rotations going into game 2.
Sorry. LeBron, the Timberwolves scored 18 points off turnovers compared just to 9 by the Lakers. How do you think the team can do a better job managing that in the upcoming games?
Well, obviously, taking care of the ball versus a team like this is very important. But anytime you're in the postseason, you got to take care of the ball, and if you turn the ball over, you got to try your best to get back, in transition and not allow them to get points. Like you said, they had 18 points off our 13 turnovers, and we only had 9 off their 10. So we got to do a much better job of trying to turn them over, and at the same time, do a better job of protecting the ball, and not having as many turnovers for us, especially at home. All right, appreciate it.
Look at LeBron's night by quarter scoring. How about this? He finished with 19. The 0 first quarter points is the first time ever he's been held scoreless in a playoff first quarter. Big second quarter.
What did you see in that second quarter to start it, where the game kind of flipped in Minnesota's direction after you guys came out and had a somewhat typical first quarter for you?
They went on a run to start the quarter, and we couldn't find a way to get a bucket, and felt like that affected us on both ends. So you're not going to be perfect in a game. You got to figure out ways to play through those situations, and to be honest, I have to be better at the start of the quarter, which I wasn't, and it resulted in them taking a lead and kind of just having all the momentum from there.
It's a team that you hadn't seen, in full since you guys got your team in full after the trade deadline. What did you notice about them today that was, whether it was similar or different to film, and about what you can take out of this game into game 2?
I mean, they're going to play hard every single possession. Offensively, defensively, they're going to be physical, and we have to do a better job defensive rebounding. We gave up too many, second chance points, and then we got to, get back. We can't give up transition points either. So we'll watch the film tomorrow and figure out ways we can be better.
Austin, some of your guys' defensive success this season was deciding what threes you're going to live with and allow. Do you think that game plan had anything to do with their great shooting night from the outside tonight?
No, I think, to start that third quarter, I think they made 3 or 4 in a row, basically all uncontested, and regardless of what the game plan is, you don't want to give up those. We play in the NBA, and regardless of what percentage you shoot, if you have a practice shot, you have an opportunity to make it. So, like I said, we'll watch the film and get better.
Austin, you had a quiet first half by your standards, and then you started to look more comfortable, I'd say, in the third quarter. Like, what did you feel like shifted in the second half for you, and then how would you assess the first half?
Bad. Didn't play very well, and then got a couple shots to go in the third quarter, but through the whole midst of the game, I have to be better. I have to help us control the game better, and like I said, I'll watch the film and get better.
Austin, when you guys have been at your best this year, it hasn't really been a team that's overreacted to things. Like Dave mentioned, like game plan threes, if the game plan calls for you to do one thing and the other team makes a shot, you guys have generally stuck with it. I'm curious, just kind of what was the mood in the locker room post-game between like a sense of urgency versus calm after one game in a playoff series when you have to win 4 to advance?
I think that kind of was the mood was you don't win or lose it, through one game. We have an opportunity. I think we play Tuesday, right, to even up the series on our home court, and then go compete for 2 games on their home court. So you never lose the game after the first game, second game, third game. To be honest, you got to get beat 4 times, or you got to win 4 times. So that's the outlook. We know we didn't play very well. We didn't play to our standards, and we'll get better.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các bạn nha. Mình sẽ giới thiệu cho các bạn về kênh của mình và những video của mình, cho các bạn biết được là kênh của mình làm video sáng tạo nội dung về chủ đề gì. Video của mình sẽ làm xuyên suốt về chủ đề cắt dán này. Mình sẽ cắt dán những sản phẩm như thế này cho các bạn xem. Còn đây là những sản phẩm mình đã hoàn thiện rồi. sẽ giới thiệu sơ qua cho các bạn xem những sản phẩm của mình và cách của mình tạo ra những sản phẩm như thế nào. Và để tạo ra được những sản phẩm đa dạng màu sắc như thế này và như thế này thì mình sẽ cần những dụng cụ như sau. Những dụng cụ phụ bổ trợ như là đây là giấy thủ công màu các bạn. Trước mặt bên tay phải của mình đây là giấy thủ công màu, nó có đa dạng những màu sắc, để tạo ra những sản phẩm tuyệt đẹp cho các bạn xem. Đấy. Có giấy màu xanh dương này, giấy màu cam này các bạn này, giấy màu đỏ này, giấy màu vàng này, còn đây là giấy màu xanh lá cây. Đấy. Và trong quá trình tạo ra những sản phẩm của mình cần những dụng cụ như là bút dạ này, kéo cắt thì để dùng để cắt, bút dạ thì để dùng để tạo hình những sản phẩm. Còn đây là hồ dán các bạn này, hồ dán thì mình sẽ dán những sản phẩm từ một chi tiết này sang chi tiết khác, từ màu sắc này sang màu sắc khác cho các bạn. Còn đây sau của mình đây là chiếc chân kẹp điện thoại này. Chân kẹp điện thoại thì phải có điện thoại. Còn đây là đèn hỗ trợ ánh sáng của mình các bạn này, đèn hỗ trợ ánh sáng để giúp cho video của mình sáng hơn, để cho các bạn xem đẹp hơn. Cái nồi của mình này, lò chiên này, máy in. Trước mặt của mình rất nhiều sản phẩm. Và kênh của mình thì cũng đã đạt được nút bạc của YouTube rồi các bạn này. Sau nhiều năm nỗ lực của mình đã đạt được thành quả là chiếc nút bạc các bạn này. Đây là những sản phẩm tiêu biểu của mình rồi. Còn mình đã làm rất nhiều sản phẩm rồi. Que kem này, que kem đẹp. Con cá này các bạn này, các bạn thấy những sản phẩm của mình còn lưu trữ rất nhiều này. Đấy. Sau khi mình cắt dán xong sản phẩm này, mình sẽ đưa lên phần mềm Camtasia trên máy tính của mình để edit video nha. Mình sẽ edit video để sau khi xong thì mình sẽ xuất ra và tải lên kênh cho các bạn xem thôi. Các bạn hãy chờ đón những sản phẩm của mình nha. Đấy. Cuối cùng thì mình sẽ cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã ủng hộ mình suốt quãng thời gian vừa qua. Và mình sẽ cố gắng phát triển để tạo ra những sản phẩm đẹp hơn cho các bạn xem. Các bạn hãy cùng theo dõi mình tạo ra những sản phẩm nha.
Đi chơi không biết làm. Cái thằng giặc con tí nữa muộn học của nó ấy. Hôm nay bọn tít 3 giờ 15 đã được về rồi. Long ơi mẹ gọi. Ô thế hôm nào mà mùng 10 tháng 3 Quỳnh Anh có được nghỉ mấy ngày đấy? Tí đâu con đi học đi con. này, đã cuối tháng rồi, vừa lấy lương xong em vừa kêu là tháng này làm cố xong đã hết xong. Ôi chết. Sao bố về không? Còn bánh mì không? Làm cái này còn hết. Sáu. Chiều Long đi mua bánh củ nhá, lên lỗ ấy. Mua 4 cái 20.000 đó. Biết chưa? Chiều về đây sao mẹ mua bánh? Bánh củ, bánh khoai, bánh ngô á. Ngon mà. Ngủ đi, chiều cậu Long mua bánh cho. Trời ơi, cái nắng thế này lên trường. Không hỏi được ai à? Trời. Nhờ đứa nào đi học.